about to direct his very first movie, but will the industry let him get away with it?
There might be some new shit coming out before then.
Frank didn't just disappear.
He's coming out with a movie?
Left the entire music industry in chaos. After humiliating the biggest labels in the business, Frank pulled a once-in-a-lifetime vanishing act. But now he's plotting his next move, and every exec in the
Oh yeah, did y'all see? We had a snippet, right? We had a snippet like a day ago or 2 days ago. We had a fucking snippet. That shit was crazy.
game is on edge. What a lot of fans may not realize is that Frank is way more dangerous than people realize, and that's why the entire industry is scrambling. Frank Ocean finessed the music business like nobody ever did before, but
Yeah, I don't know what he did. Frank Ocean outsmarted his record label and what that teaches us about self-belief. He escapes record label. Oh yeah, because didn't he drop like 2 albums and like somehow escaped? Or like, I don't know why they say escape. Like left?
did he go too far? How did he orchestrate his most legendary industry scam of all time? What really happened during his violent showdown with the so-called king of R&B? And why are there some insiders convinced that Frank may be blacklisted forever? We've even invested hours of combing through the behind-the-scenes reports, court documents, and industry gossip,
God damn, y'all investigated everything. Fuck.
all to investigate claims that Frank might be destroying his very own legacy. Is Frank
That's not good. Well, let's find out.
really guilty of biting the hand that fed him? And now, after nearly a decade in the shadows, Frank
Odd Future.
may be plotting something huge. But is he actually going to be able to make his biggest comeback of all time, or has the industry made sure that we'll never hear from him again?
I don't usually finish a song unless I want it finished and want to present it.
One thing's for sure, Frank Ocean may be a menace
So that's why we haven't gotten music for like fucking 10 years. Or like 8 years or something.
now, but at the beginning of his career, the music industry had him trapped. Frank moved from New Orleans to LA in 2006 and struggled to make it as a recording artist. When he ran out of money, he hopped from job to job, working at Subway, Fatburger, and Allstate just so he could scrape by. Frank Ocean at Subway is crazy. Nobody wanted to give
That is crazy, But he eventually found Odd Future.
Frank Ocean a chance on a record deal, but he realized he could make major money as a ghostwriter. We already did a full-scale analysis on how ghostwriting works in the music industry. Frank Ocean discovered that if record execs didn't want to sign him as an artist, he could still help other established stars make records and let the cash roll in. Frank wrote songs for Justin Bieber and John Legend, making
Holy shit. Crazy.
enough money so he could move out of South LA and up into Beverly Hills. But there was a very big problem. Frank hated being told what to do, and he wanted to make his own music. And in 2009, Frank finally got a chance to make his dreams come true. He signed a recording contract with Def Jam and was on his way to being a solo artist. But there was another problem. Def Jam had zero intention of actually letting Frank release any music. They didn't even give him a recording budget.
Crazy. They never gave him a budget? Isn't that a good thing though? You can do whatever?
They basically signed him to shut him up, trap him in a record deal, and keep him close so he could still keep writing songs for their other artists. So Frank Ocean decided to go completely rogue. He started recording music by himself, and in 2011 he released his debut mixtape, Nostalgia Ultra. Within weeks, the entire industry was hyped.
Crazy. Yup. That very good mixtape. I think it was. So he wasn't a part of Odd Future yet in 2011. He wasn't. That's crazy. I thought he would be. That's when they all dropped their hits. Like 2011 to 2013. That's when Odd Future dropped all their amazing albums.
Frank was acclaimed as the next big up-and-coming star. Fun fact, Diddy called up Frank's manager
What?
himself when Nostalgia Ultra dropped to try and see if he could sign him. That would have been bad. But while the whole world was celebrating Frank Ocean's mixtape, Frank was still pissed as hell. He took to social media so he could air out Def Jam, his own label, accusing them of trying to hold him back. Quote, Def Jam and any company that goes the length of signing a kid with dreams and talent with no intention of following through. Frank made sure to
God damn. I mean, yeah, that is fucked up, so that makes sense, but like, shit, bro. That shit's so fucked up, though, bro. Like, come on, man. Really? Like, why? Like, you're holding back potential. They could make you millions, bro. You don't even know.
punish Def Jam for what they did to him. Not only did Frank personally meet with Barry Weiss, the CEO of the label, but he forced the company to write him a check for $1 million.
Holy shit. And that's why this guy doesn't need to drop music, because he can just scam everybody and make millions.
Frank clearly did not come to play. That very same summer, Frank ended up beefing with one of the industry's biggest and most controversial stars.
We heard that there was a disturbance in the studio between artists. Can you confirm it all?
No information.
The whole world was going crazy for Nostalgia Ultra. Hip-hop legends like Jay-Z, Kanye West, and Nas all praised Frank's music and said they wanted to work with him.
My husband was playing this music, and this guy's tone and his lyrics just touched me. And after one song, I said, okay, who is that? Because I want them on a flight tonight. And he told me it was Frank Ocean. And I immediately reached out, and he came in the next day, and we did like 5 or 6 songs.
But there was one artist who didn't seem too impressed with the so-called king of R&B, Chris Brown. After listening to Nostalgia Ultra,
Of course it's Chris Brown, dude. Chris Brown is like the OG hater.
Chris Brown tweeted, quote, "I f with Frank Ocean. Reminds me of a young James Fauntleroy or Kevin Costner." On the surface, that might sound like Breezy's trying to give Frank some props, but when you dig a little deeper, there was a ton of shade behind that cosign. Both James Fauntleroy and Kevin Costner were singers who were way better known for being songwriters than solo artists. Chris Brown was basically saying,
Oh shit, yeah. He was basically just telling him stay as a fucking ghostwriter and don't make music. Yeah.
hey, that little music you dropped was cool, but stick to writing. Breezy was broadcasting to the entire world that he thought Frank Ocean was nowhere near superstar status and just not on his level. But Frank wasn't having it because he lit Chris Brown the fuck up. Frank Ocean responded on Twitter, quote, "I fucked with Chris Brown, reminds me of a young Sisqo or Ike Turner. Sisqo is famous for having the thong song and having dyed his hair blonde, and Ike Turner, meanwhile, was notorious for being violent towards his wife Tina Turner, and Chris Brown."
Oh wow, dude, that's a better comeback, dude. That's hit him right back where it hurt too. I bet that shit hurt, man. Ah. Holy shit.
Had already been convicted of beating his then girlfriend Rihanna in 2009. Chris then got mad as hell and responded, quote, "At Frank Ocean, it was a compliment, you bitch ass nigga. Everyone claims to be the devil till they meet him." Frank's friend Tyler, the Creator, who was affiliated with Frank through
Okay, so he was a part of Odd Future in like 2011 or whatever. I was about to say, ain't no way, bruh.
their group Odd Future, jumped in and fully clowned on Chris Brown, calling him a stunt double for a highlighter.
Yeah.
When it comes to your shower, the details are the difference. Dove Men Body Wash with plant-based moisture.
Dude, Tyler Creator is the biggest troll of all time. I swear to God. This motherfucker will just comment some random bullshit, and it's the funniest shit ever.
That's hilarious. A couple days later, Frank Ocean pulled up to the LA studio where Chris was recording new music and waited for him in the parking lot. According to
What? This guy wanted to squabble.
reports,
It's time to squabble.
Chris's cousins found out that Frank was waiting for him outside and they decided to press him. When Frank saw that he was about to get jumped, he hopped in the car and took off. But Chris's crew wasn't done. They chased the car out into LA traffic. That's mad reckless. Video got posted on social.
Yo, Chris Brown, see, he sounds like a loser. Chris Brown sounds like a loser, I can't even lie.
Media that showed Chris's cousin screaming at Frank and following his car. Apparently, Frank wanted to squabble one-on-one with Chris Brown, but he wasn't about to let himself get packed out by Chris's entire entourage. Tensions had definitely escalated, and people were concerned that the whole situation was spiraling out of control, especially since Chris is notorious for claiming an affiliation with the Fruittown Pyrus in LA. Chris decided to defuse the situation by tweeting, quote, "This beef is stupid at Frank Ocean. I respect your music and you an Odd Future. Ain't beefing with nobody. Y'all could have that. Love." Tyler co-signed the peace treaty, responding, quote, "Shit got too real on both ends. I'm over it." But Frank stayed silent. Later that year, Frank announced to the world that he was gay, and rumors surfaced that Chris Brown was talking trash about him behind the scenes. Chris again jumped on Twitter to dead the rumors directly. Quote, "My opinion on the whole Frank Ocean subject is, love who you want to love. It's your decision. People stop searching for BS." From the outside,
Yeah. Okay, wait. He's about to say something.
it looks like all the drama between Frank Ocean and Chris Brown was finally put to rest. That was until January 28th of 2013.
Oh my god.
Chris was working at Westlake Studio in LA when Frank pulled up and decided to block Chris's car in.
Dude, I love that car so... Oh! I love that car so much, bro. Come on, man. Such a beautiful car. It's good in any color. It's the perfect car. It's good in any color.
Preventing him from leaving. When Chris's team confronted Frank and asked him to move the car, Frank reportedly refused and claimed, quote, "This is my studio, this is my parking space." According to the police report, Chris Brown tried to piece it up and reached out to shake Frank's hand, but Frank didn't budge. That's when Breezy allegedly punched Frank, starting an all-out brawl in the parking lot. Over 6 people were involved in the fight, and Frank later told police that he heard someone called him the F slang and that someone threatened to bust on him. Chris fled the scene, but Frank...
What? Yo, what the fuck? Yo, this is the stupidest beef of all time. What am I hearing? These guys are beefing over nothing. It's been years later, these guys are beefing over nothing.
Frank stuck around to talk to police. He declined to file charges, but later tweeted about the fight, accusing Chris Brown of sucker punching him. Quote, "Got jumped by Chris and a couple guys, LOL." Just a few days later, Chris Brown and Frank Ocean were both in attendance at the 2013 Grammys, where they were competing against each other in the same category.
Chanel Orange, that one.
Frank ended up winning Best R&B Album, and while Breezy could be seen clapping, he definitely did not
Yeah, he did. Yeah, he had a look on his face. You could tell. He was so upset about that.
participate in the standing ovation. But that wasn't the last time that Frank's name would be dragged into beef. In 2015, Miguel claimed during an interview that he makes better music hands down than Frank. Miguel later clarified his comments by saying that there was no need to compare apples and oranges. I mean, that's just a better way to say it. The Migos even dragged
That's true.
Frank's name into another beef.
Not that he's better, just like what he said on like that's a better way to put it.
After accusations surfaced that the group was homophobic. When Atlanta artist I Love McConan came out as gay, Quavo, Offset, and Takeoff were vocally unhappy that he was getting support from other artists. Quavo later defended himself, claiming that he couldn't be homophobic because he had a record with Frank Ocean called Slide. It's a weird ass thing to say.
Yeah, that is kind of weird, but whatever.
Despite everybody bringing up his name, Frank did not make any public response. He clearly wanted the music to speak for itself. And in 2016, Frank used his music to finesse the very label that tried to keep him down.
He didn't put out an album in 4 years, and with his deal, he literally figured out how to get 20 million from Lucian Grainge.
What? That's why this motherfucker doesn't post music. He doesn't make music anymore. He doesn't need to. He is scamming record labels for millions. Are we serious? Yo.
Drop his deal, figure out how to make the funds apply to a whole nother album, give him a bullshit album, get out his deal all in one round.
Frank Ocean's first album, Chanel Orange, was celebrated as a groundbreaking, Grammy Award-winning instant classic. But it took years for Frank to deliver his sophomore project. His long-awaited follow-up album, rumored to be called Boys Don't Cry, was plagued by endless delays and missed release dates, driving fans' hype sky high. When Frank later admitted he was suffering from writer's block, it also turns out he was putting together a master plan to get revenge on his label and walk away with a major bag in the process. In an interview, Frank Ocean described his relationship with Def Jam as a 7-year chess game, and on August 19th of 2016, Frank was finally ready to make his final move. Frank surprised fans by releasing a streaming-only visual album on Apple Music called Endless. The album was a 45-minute video of Frank building a staircase while music played in the background. While critics generally said they liked the project, fans definitely agreed that it was kind of a weird way to follow up Chanel Orange. It turns out that Endless was just a pump fake to get Frank out of his record deal with Def Jam. After releasing Endless, Frank's obligation to the label was done, and he was now free to release his actual second album with no strings attached. The very next day, Frank went back-to-back and surprised dropped the real album Blonde. Blonde topped the Billboard charts with 275,000 copies and was ranked by music critics as one of the greatest albums of all time.
That's crazy. That is insane. That is insane. Oh my god. Holy shit.
But by dropping Blonde independently, Frank Ocean ensured that he alone would reap the rewards of the album's huge financial success, and Def Jam wouldn't see a single dime. Chestnut checkers. Frank is estimated to have netted over $20 million in profit because of how he released Blonde. Meanwhile, Def Jam, who had zero idea that Blonde was even a thing, was left holding the bag with a visual album that they couldn't really sell or monetize. Frank had gotten his revenge against the industry, humiliating record executives like no one had ever seen done before. But Frank was about to find out that running off on the plug comes with consequences.
Most people have a hard time predicting where I might be or what I might be doing.
As a newly independent artist, Frank Ocean was technically free to drop music however he wanted, whenever he wanted, but he was also responsible for managing his affairs completely solo without the backing and support of a major label behind him.
That's true too. It's risky, but gotta do what you gotta do, man.
With Blonde, Frank was able to collect streaming and sales profits himself, but that also meant he was responsible for paying out royalties. In 2018, Blonde producer Omas Keith sued Frank Ocean, claiming that he was owed unpaid royalties from the album. Frank countersued Omas Keith after the producer claimed he deserved co-writing credits on most of the album. While the two parties eventually negotiated a settlement, it signified that Frank may be having a little trouble when it comes to handling the day-to-day business of being an indie artist. By giving the industry the middle finger, Frank Ocean found himself on the fringe of the music business. While artists like Frank's longtime friend Tyler the Creator had become really skilled at navigating the award shows, interviews, and press obligations that came with being a superstar, Frank had pretty much shunned all of the above. He even declined to submit Blonde to the Grammys, which is why the album was never nominated for any awards. That's crazy.
Shit.
Frank's decision not to play.
Like, that is crazy. He don't even want awards. He don't want nothing. He just, fuck it. Don't even put it up there, bruh. Just let the people listen to it. If they like it, they like it.
The game cost him valuable placements on streaming playlists, but it also let him benefit directly by focusing solely on his fans. And honestly, that's the shit that matters at the end of the day, so good.
I mean, that's true. That's honestly true. Like, putting all your effort to the people who actually fuck with you and nothing else. That's true, bro. You gotta love it, man.
But in 2023, Frank Ocean torpedoed his reputation in an insane way. Frank was originally slated to be a headliner for the Coachella Music Festival in 2020 until the COVID-19 pandemic forced the event to be canceled. 3 years later, Frank was finally rescheduled to take the Coachella stage and deliver a hugely anticipated comeback set. It had been 7 years since Frank dropped Blonde, and Coachella was famous for all-out iconic performances from A-list artists like Beyonce, Kanye West, Prince, and Tupac's Hologram. People clearly expected Frank to deliver something that no one had ever seen before. And he kinda did, just not in the way that fans were expecting. Frank's Coachella performance was universally slammed as a failure, lackluster, and a disappointment.
God damn. What do you do? What do you do to get everybody so mad? What could he have done, bro?
Not only did he perform heavily rearranged versions of his songs, but he was also barely visible to much of the crowd. There was a random DJ set in the middle, and the whole performance was shut down early for violating curfew. Fans were pissed off, and Frank abruptly canceled his scheduled second appearance at Coachella the following weekend, claiming that he had a leg injury. Behind the scenes insiders claim that Frank originally had planned a far more elaborate performance involving ice skaters. According to reports, trained ice skaters have been rehearsing for Frank's performance for weeks, only for Frank to abruptly scrap the entire concept the day of. Frank even demanded that Coachella cancel their planned live stream of his set at the last second, sparking claims that he was acting erratically. Some fans defended Frank, speculating that he was grieving the death of his little brother Ryan, who passed in a car crash in 2020. But Joe Budden wasn't having it.
I smacked the shit out of you. What the f are you talking about, you idiot? Everybody is here for your stupid ass who ain't put out music in ages. And you can't even confirm if there's new music coming?
Joe even labeled Frank Ocean a scammer and claimed that his master finesse move against Def Jam had permanently damaged the industry.
He'll always wear the scammer tag. For me, that fucked up a lot of artists. He didn't care. Lost a lot of artists' revenue stream.
Yeah, that
he
fucked
didn't
up a lot
care.
of shit.
Took Apple out the game. He didn't care.
Frank may have beat the music industry at his own game, but it came.
If you look at it like that, then that is kind of true, bro. He kind of, yeah, bro. But who cares, man? At this point, at this day and age, it's almost been 10 years, dude. Who cares anymore?
With a heavy price. Like, his own fans aren't even sure if they could trust him anymore.
Where's the album? We want the album.
It's totally possible that Frank Ocean might be done with music entirely. Frank's focus lately has been more on his luxury jewelry brand Homer, with pendants that range in price from $435 to $1.9 million. In fact, one of Homer's biggest supporters have been none other than Drake, who flexed on everybody when he rocked the Homer's most expensive piece courtside. Drake even shouted out Frank's brand on the 2022 song Sticky. Frank definitely appreciated Drake's support because he cleared a sample of one of his unreleased songs, Wiseman, for the intro to Drake's last solo project, For All the Dogs. But Frank's diehard supporters have been completely starved of new music.
I want to talk about why I'm here, because it's not because of a new album. It's because, not that there's not a new album, it's like,
Frank hasn't dropped any new singles since 2020, and while he promised that he had new music during his disastrous Coachella set, he hasn't bothered to follow through. There's been
Okay, quit lying. When was this? 2 days ago? Dude, he had a snippet! He had a snippet 2 days ago!
speculation that Frank's the industry behavior, like scamming both Def Jam and Coachella, has burned way too many bridges, and that they're completely opposed to working with him. Some fans even claim that Frank essentially blackballed himself. Just weeks ago, news leaked that Frank Ocean is planning on becoming a filmmaker. According to reports, Frank is in the process of shooting a
Bro's doing anything besides dropping the album, for real.
feature film in Mexico City with industry actor David Johnson starring as the lead role. It's very possible that this could be the beginning of yet another Frank Ocean takeover, but the industry also may have learned their lesson to never do business with him again. Is it possible that we really might have seen the last of Frank Ocean, or is he secretly planning another comeback that will shake up the industry yet again?
Frank Ocean snippet. It's gotta be here, right? Because it was on Twitter or whatever 2 days ago.
I've been stripped of a lot as much as I've been gifted. We got history, now all of a sudden I'm a mystery. And the feeling's alive, but what feeling isn't? Think true love's a mirage, always in the distance. I read your diary every line.
Oh my god, it's beautiful, oh my god.
Like wine. I read your diary every line.
Oh, it's so good. Oh my god, it's so good actually though. It's so good. It's so good, actually. Okay. It's actually so good. Please, please give us something. Like, I don't know what they're talking about, bro, but he definitely has something on the way. He got something. Be patient.